Today we will talk about XRP, the ILP, and a BRICS cryptocurrency that will reshape the financial system and reset the banking market. And a lot of this will revolve around Russia because a lot of information has been coming out that ties into potential with ILP and possibly XRP involvement, which will expand into 1,200 banks in 2024, which is right about now, and the live launch of the digital ruble in early 2025. The Russian president talked with high-ranking BRICS security officials, and 34 countries have applied to enter BRICS. Annual conference will take place in October. Russia has increased its daily gold purchases by about 600% and will soon conduct trade with China to sidestep the eye of the Western financial system. And to top it all off, as I have talked about in the past, the Russian tokenized ruble is 100% inscribed in current legislation that has been coming out and has passed.
Product factories, and tokenized ruble is one of the products which is 100% inscribed in the current legislation and the regulatory activities. We're continually referring to digital financial assets, but digital financial assets are issued on a regular basis. They have an issuer which envisages the particular inherent parameters, and tokenized rubles do not have any issuers. We have one single issuer called the Bank of Russia, which issues rubles. As for tokenized rubles, it's just a technology of applying different technological essences, and they are applicable to current funds. We do not generate new kinds of money. We're talking about tokenization of deposits, but as for the concept, we mean the use of technological essences, be it smart contracts, blockchain, and digital assets. That's the way of more effective circulation of money.
It is interesting there because it talked about tokenized deposits, and I have talked about ties into the ILP and XRP with that. And it also is talking about smart contracts, which I will talk about here in a bit. So we have a Russian document that was published a few months ago, confirmed that the value BRICS unit currency will be comprised of 40% gold and 60%. It also calls out how it has a significant dependence on the IMF, which Ripple was also called out on that chart. It is not an accident, in my own opinion, that Ripple's primary audience at this point in time are central banks and institutions, not retail. They were also talking about commodity and stock exchanges and gold and payment systems underpinning the value of the Russia unit system. It also, once again, called out Ripple specifically. Here is one of the documents that I have talked about in the past from June of 2024, and it is specifically calling out the Bank of Russia, which we just heard about in that clip, and the involvement of Ripple here. It also calls out Ripple's former smart contract platform, Codius, which there has been more talk of that over the last couple of weeks at this point because of the increase in the conversation around programmability on the XRPL. Codius is a smart contract system created on the Ripple network, which allows automatic settlement of payments between counterparties in different countries. Codius was ahead of its time, which can imply that at that point, the ILP was not widespread enough for Codius to work properly and be applicable. And here we begin to tie some more of the macroeconomic things and tie it into the IMF and ESDR and into connections into XRP. After the 2008 financial crisis, there was a call for having a new approach to cross-border transfers in between institutions and banks. Ripple has been uniquely documented as a potential solution to these exact issues, with its technology being proposed as a new cross-border transfer system. XRP has specifically been called out within documents as a super sovereign currency, or an asset that could operate across borders without being tied to the economic stability or the monetary policy of any one country. And to top that off, we have XRP called out as an SDR-based stablecoin. Now, the current SDR is not really what it was ever intended to be. It was initially designed to act as a foreign exchange reserve asset, primarily to help poor and developing countries. However, the majority of SDR allocations are held by wealthy and developed countries. The concentration of SDRs restricts potential for the countries that need them. Furthermore, the IMF itself places restrictions on the borrowing capacities of developing countries, which further restricts access to SDRs, which is exactly why there has been a lot of talk and a lot of documentation that explains why the SDR itself has to be modernized and improved to act as a truly neutral and effective global reserve asset. Here we begin to tie the CBDC and SDR back into commodities, and specifically gold. A CBDC based SDR is essentially taking care of two birds with one stone. An SDR on commodity is a chain-based form, which acts as a unit of account in cross-border trade. The value will be calculated by a registered list of commodities. An eSDR would end up as a stablecoin that would allow everyone, not just institutions, to have access directly to central bank value in payments and holding, which is important because an eSDR could increase an SDR's use in private transactions, which could create a global cryptocurrency that could circulate along with cryptocurrencies backed by central banks. It will be supported with CBDCs and commodities. An SDR can exist atop existing chains, which essentially creates an L2 protocol. An eSDR would end up as a global CBDC on a payment rail set up by the IMF or BIS. And with all of Ripple's ties to and references by the IMF, one could draw some pretty reasonable conclusions.